Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. We begin our video with a story in which an act of malicious compliance took place. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. No U-turns allowed. So 11 years ago, a trucking company had a 6-week program to learn to drive a semi-truck. During the classroom portion, the instructor told us absolutely, positively, never, ever make a U-turn. I raised my hand to ask a question that started out as, "But what if?" And I was quickly interrupted by the instructor with, "No matter what, never make a U-turn. You'll get fired if you do." So a few years go by and I come to a newly built truck stop in Michigan that was set up where, when you leave, all trucks must take a right out of the parking lot and make a U-turn to get back to the interstate. The truck stop ingeniously engineered this U-turn with the local county, and it was 100% safe for trucks, and you couldn't continue straight and look for a place to make a safe turnaround because it was a truck-restricted route. So I call my dispatch and they transferred me to safety compliance. I tell them what's going on and how I'm forced to make a U-turn, and we discuss it more, and they laugh and say, "It's okay, driver, just go ahead and make the turn." I politely tell them that in my CDL training, we were told we'd get fired and there was zero tolerance. Long story short, they call a towing company to my location. Okay, so the tow truck does not hook to my truck, but the tow truck driver did get in my truck and complete the U-turn for me, and it cost the company $175 for the tow company's time. And our next story. Snitches Get Stitches. I was finishing up my mandatory military service, getting trained as a squad leader in a comms unit. Promoted to sergeant first among my peers because my ability to be lazy by organizing everything to go smoothly with as little work as possible was mistaken as initiative and leadership skills. This did not go with Broomstick up his butt, who thought following fine print of the rule books anally would reward him with the promotion. Broomstick up his butt shall henceforth be known as Boo-Ha, and he'll taste some revengeance. Boo-Ha never liked me for a variety of reasons. I refused the ridiculous formalities of the barracks, like greeting me by rank, by those under me, standing at attention, and other pointless posturing. I actively told my squad I wouldn't even answer to my rank and surname. You call me by my first name if you want to talk. Boo-Ha, on the other hand, demanded this, going so far as to require this from his peers when he was the acting duty officer. Technically, he was our senior for the day, but he was the only moron with a superiority complex big enough to do this to his peers. I didn't follow protocol if that meant making things go smoother. I didn't want to micromanage anything and make my squad think and do things as they saw fit as long as timetables were met. Boo-Ha made it impossible for anyone under his command to do anything because everything was to be done to the letter. Even if it was impossible, contradicting orders, it must be followed exactly. So they were always late and always redoing things because he saw someone skip a step that was specified in the ancient manuscripts he worshipped as God-given law. We bumped heads often, and while everyone thought the guy to be an insufferable know-it-all, I made no effort in hiding my dislike or trying to make things better with him. Since Boo-Ha hated my butt and the way I ran my squad, every time he was the acting duty officer, he made a point of inspecting our room with extra scrutiny. Team leaders slept in the same room with their team as a part of building trust and camaraderie. I don't know if this is common or not. Our beds were never made up to his standards, our cleaning never good enough, thus our free time was always cut shorter than others since duty officer Boo-Ha decided when these duties were done sufficiently well. This was extra true in the case of my bunk, which was blown up on every inspection. Mistakes were to be highlighted. My bunk was one big mistake every single time. Whatever, let the bullied kid taste power for the first time. I'm a patient man. Fast forward almost a year. Finland has mandatory service for all men over 18. Shortest service available is 180 days. Junior NCOs serve a year. And it's time for me to leave the service. Thing is, I was leaving about 3 weeks earlier than the others. I'd started my service once before, but got a difficult fracture in my femur that resulted in them releasing me from my service temporarily and sending me back home to heal. I did my engineering duties and returned a decade later, a geezer among the 19-year-old kiddies. I was one of 3 over 25-year-olds serving that time. we were older than some of our staff. They put him back in the start of NCO training, I did 3 weeks before, so I was serving a slightly shorter sentence. As everyone else packs up their gear for the final week of intense combat training, the End War as it's affectionately called in the forests, I pack up and sign my crap out and wait for tomorrow. But not before getting back at Boo-Ha. I crank up some of my favorite tunes from the noise machine, pick up my sewing kit I grabbed when I went home the last time and set to work. I find his bunk. I throw everything off it and grab the sheet, pulling it nice and tight. Then I stitch the sheet to the mattress, leaving less than half an inch between each stitch. All 4 sides of it immaculate. I grab his blanket, make it perfectly, and stitch this to the mattress/sheet, half inch between stitches, all 4 sides of it. I take his pillow and stitch that on top of the blanket, mattress, sheet, half inch between stitches, all 4 sides of it. I take the blue and white checkered bed cover and make the bed. I made it to perfection. Those blue lines were running straight on all sides. There wasn't a damn wrinkle in sight, and I stitched the covers to the pillow, blanket, mattress, sheet, half inch between stitches, all 4 sides of it. I set the bed down, straighten everything, and leave the army the next day. I was pretty good friends with everyone else there, so I was informed by the others on what happened. Before that, though, I have to set the scene. Again, a bit of me painting poetic, but bear with me. Imagine you're in a week-long intensive combat exercise as a squad responsible for communications. It's pretty damn stressful, even in slow-paced situations, setting up communication so everyone else can coordinate their efforts with no margin for error. This takes about 15 minutes to set up by a team that knows what they're doing, and at least 7 minutes to pull back down. Might take almost double that in bad weather. Our masts were of the manual kind. You crank the mast to a tight, attach tether to trees or anchors, etc. Take some effort and time. Add to this that it's a joint exercise between infantry, artillery, and all others. The expectations and intensity go through the roof. Now imagine you're also attached to a platoon that's in the front lines. So you're moving every few hours. This means practically no sleep whatsoever. As soon as you're done putting the mast up and setting up frequencies, it's likely the front line is moving, and so are you. On top of this, the grub deliveries encounter issues, so you only had dry rations. Granted, the Finnish army has some kick-butt rations. Imagine eating soup mixes, noodles, and crackers for a week. On top of this, the laundry service failed, so you were left with what crappy clothes you initially packed, 2 to 3 of everything. Hard work, outdoors, in a forest, normally you'd like to change every day. Now you have to use a single pair of underwear and socks for 3 days. On top of this, you were so far off the central command, you didn't have the chance to get any shower time, no washing up except with the cold water in your canteen bottle. On top of this, it effing rained the entire week, because of course it did, except for 2 days when it was just gray and miserable, and the rain gear, though said to protect you in case of a nuclear blast, does an abysmal job of keeping raindrops away. And this was the end war for the squad of Boo-Ha. No sleep, no warm-prepped meals, no laundry, no washing up, and more moving the station than all other comm squads combined, for 8 straight days. But finally it's over. Pack up your crap and head back to base, skip checking equipment, get these men some rest, comes the order from the higher-ups, and everyone sighs in relief. Apparently some were so exhausted they didn't even manage to get out of their clothes before collapsing unconscious on their beds. This goes doubly for Boo-Ha's squad. Boo-Ha goes to his bed and tries to yank the covers off. The entire bed jumps. Boo-Ha slept on top of the covers for the night. He didn't make an appearance in any of the classes the next day and spent half a day doing nothing but slowly cutting and removing the string I sewed his bed shut with. There was also a lot of cursing. And Boo-Ha didn't talk to anyone for the remainder of the 2 weeks they had left. That's why I receive free beers on the rare occasion we meet with my fellow NCOs, as a thank you for shutting them up and giving the others some peace and quiet for the last weeks. And our last short story, customer wanted to speak to the manager and the owner. For context, my family, my aunt started it, but my parents were the ones who invested the capital, owns a brunch restaurant, a fancy and a bit overpriced kind of brunch place. This place is open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as a brunch place and opens from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. again as a pub. I needed additional income because I wanted to buy another laptop. She's short on staff, so she hired me, and since I'm her niece and she knows I'm capable of it, she assigned me as the manager. 2 weeks into the job, a waitress had gone down with the flu and told us she won't be working for that day. It was fine. I took over her place and waited tables. That day, I had my first entitled person. This dude was so obnoxious. He was talking to his friends and, I assume, his girlfriend. They were so loud, mostly him, that I had to tell them to tone down their voices a bit because they're making the other customers uncomfortable. Besides that, he's just ruining the place's vibe. Then, when he ordered his nth coffee, I told him that we already ran out of coffee refills, but we're making another batch. He stood up and yelled something stupid in my face and complained that our service was crap. He was complaining about us wanting them to shut up as it's bad service and we don't have any common sense. Then this mofo demanded to see the manager. So I told him I was the manager. He repeated, "I want to speak to the effing manager." So I, the stupid little crap, faced my back to him, then twirled to face him, and I just said, "Well, hello, good morning. I'm OP, the manager," with the brightest face I could muster. His face went bright red and shouted, "Get me the owner then, B." Since technically I am one of the owners because of nepotism, I did the same thing again and said, "Well, hello, good morning. I am OP, the owner." He just snatched a couple of bills from his wallet, slammed it onto the table, dragged his girlfriend by the arm, and left the restaurant. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.